Welcome to another edition of Iconic Sonics. I'm your host, Mike Gastineau, and we have a very special show today. There are two gentlemen left in the NBA who wore the green and gold, who were Seattle SuperSonics back in the day. One of them is Kevin Durant, and he's not with us today. I don't know what he's doing. The other one is still playing in the NBA playoffs because his team just knocked out Kevin Durant's Phoenix Suns. And I'm talking, of course, of Jeff Green, who was with the Sonics in their final year in Seattle and is now a key man off the bench for this great Denver Nuggets team that's making a run to the Western Conference Finals and maybe to the NBA Finals. Jeff, it's great to see you again, and welcome back to Seattle. We were chatting. It's been a while, but
Yes.
Believe me, people up here remember the name and remember the passion, and they've rooted for you during your long and great NBA career. So thanks for doing this, and good to see you, man. I'm assuming you're doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. We start tomorrow against the Lakers. So the mental has been tested these last couple of days of preparing for those guys, but I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And to your comment about Seattle will always be home to me because that's where it all started.
The mental is really, and we'll get to more of that later, the Seattle connection. The mental is really what it's all about this time of year, right? Because it's not like you're going to get better at basketball in May by practicing. You guys are pros. You're already really good at it. I know you got to run stuff. You got to run schemes. You got to know what you're doing. But it's about keeping your head straight and keeping your head on what's coming next. I'm assuming. Would you agree with that statement?
No, you're 100% right. Because like you said, we're not going to practice. We don't want any freak injuries happening in practice. So they test your mental by giving us a pamphlet of, whatever team we play, we have to study it. And then they test our mental by preparing us with the plays, the personnel, the things they love to do, things they don't like to do. And they test us on it. And that's the mental preparation that we go through, pretty much every day and leading up to a game and after a game.
How difficult is that? Because I think when most of us hear that, to me, I flash back to school days, and there were certain days when I'm in school and I'm enjoying what I'm being taught and I'm into it. And there's other days where my mind's a million miles away. Obviously you can't do that and have success at your level, but how difficult is staying in the moment when you're in a classroom as opposed to when you're in the gym, which is where you'd rather be?
Well, to me, for doing it so long, it's not difficult at all. It becomes second nature because this is what we work hard for, is competing for a championship. And when you're tested to remember some things about another team, you're going to take it serious. So, for us, you're going into the gym every day and, focusing on the little details that it's going to take for us to win a game, becomes second nature after a while. And, I'd rather be on the court than a classroom at this point. So we enjoy it a little bit more than the norm.
I mentioned Kevin Durant earlier, and you guys go back to 07, 08 with Seattle. You played in Brooklyn for a couple of seasons together. You've obviously known him. You just competed against him, and, they had dreams of going where you guys now are going. What's your relationship with KD like over the years, and how interesting was it to go head-to-head with him in this situation?
Our relationship stayed strong when we left. When I left OKC, our relationship stayed strong. We continued to stay in touch. It's more than basketball with me and him. We come from the same area in Maryland. So for us, it's about family. When I see him, it's about, how's his mother, how's his brother, how's the family doing, it's vice versa. So we talk basketball a little bit, but for our relationship, it's been built stronger than what basketball has brought us close. So we've always stayed in touch, and we forever stay in touch. So that's a brother.
Did that happen? I mean, did you know him before you both ended up in Seattle? Like you said, you came from the same area. Had you guys crossed paths a little bit in high school?
No, because the age. I'm 2 years older. He went to a private school. I went to a public school. So basketball wise, we never crossed paths. But our families knew of each other. They knew each other. My dad and his dad knew each other. So through some kind of way, we were connected. And I lived probably 5 to 10 minutes away from where he's from. And we've always been connected somehow. Some of his best friends and some of my best friends who I knew. So we already, in some way, some form, were close, but we didn't know it until we got to the NBA.
So you get to Seattle, was the connection immediate there? I mean, did you kind of get with this guy and like right away go, we're going to be friends and we're going to be teammates, and you're not always friends with all your teammates. I mean, did you like
Yeah.
right away kind of feel like, all right, this is a good bond here?
Yeah, right away. Two guys coming from where we come from, getting drafted the same year to the same team. We connected very, very strongly, very, very quickly. And when you're coming in, when I came in, I got drafted at 20. He got drafted at 18. And to get through that first year, we relied on each other. Our paths were different, but in order for us to stay level-headed, to stay humble, to stay connected through the season, because 82 games, we relied on each other.
And I'm assuming when you say you relied on each other, it was the first time for either of you that you're in that situation. The team just wasn't good. A lot of young players. I think you lost 62 games. You came from a Georgetown team that went to the Final Four. He came from Texas. You guys had great success. I imagine that's one of the tougher things about adjusting to the NBA. When you end up in that situation, you lose more in 1 year than you've lost in the rest of your life. Did that help
Yeah,
build that bond?
yeah, correct. Because we knew the only way we can get through that was work. So him checking me or I'm checking him, us pushing each other. That's how we relied on each other to get through it. We didn't allow that season to, for us to deter where our careers are going to go. Obviously, his career went away and mine went away, but at the end of the day, we're still playing in the NBA 16 years later, and we've been successful at it. We definitely relied on each other to make sure that we stayed focused on the future and not the present, because we knew that those tough tasks, those tough moments wasn't going to last.
You guys, it was a great series with Phoenix, and you were up 2-1, lose, and it's 2-2. And I know you guys were disappointed after that, and you talked afterwards about it. We've got to accept the challenge. We got to step up and take responsibility. And then you win 2 in a row, and you move on to play the Lakers. What was it that turned for you, do you think, against Phoenix and got you back on track?
I think we just went to the drawing board. I think we went back to the basics, and we relied on what got us there was our defense, and we turned that to offense. I think we kind of took a step backwards of that defensive end, and we allowed Devin and Katie get to their spots and do what they wanted to do. So we kind of just went back to the drawing board, got our defense straight, and that took off and got us out of that series and moving on to the play the Lakers.
And back to the mental thing that we talked about. You sit down, you figure, okay, what are we doing wrong here? And
Yeah.
you do it. Obviously, you want to win. That's why you're playing the game. But is it odd when it's over and you shake Kevin's hand? You're like, yeah, you're one of my best friends, man. So, sorry, I'm the guy who sent you packing. I mean, is there a weird feeling there, or is it more like this is what you wanted? I mean,
It's what I wanted. If you ever talk to him, we didn't even talk at all during the series because we know
sure.
at that point it's about what our team can accomplish. We understand that as friends, as competitors, that we know that we want our team to move on. So in order for that to happen, sometimes you have to put aside your friendship and you just got to go out and compete. And when it was done, I told him I love him and told him hopefully I'll see him soon after I'm done. And he said, go get you one, go get you a ring. He's won a couple himself. So for me, that's what it's all about. It's about competition. And then when it was done, the friendship, the love is still there. And, he rooted me on to, hopefully I can get me a ring this year, alongside him. So like he did at one point. So that's what it's all about.
And now you step up and you face the Lakers, and they have a guy I think I think you played with. I think he's pretty darn good. You go from Kevin Durant and CP and that whole gang of sons to take on LeBron James. Again, LeBron pretty well. I'm assuming you're a pleasant guy. I'm assuming you've got the same kind of relationship with LeBron, that you know each other and you respect each other. You've been in the battles together. What's that like? What's your relationship with LeBron like? And what's it like thinking about him being in the road now between you and where you want to go?
It's the same thing. It's about competition. It's about doing whatever it takes for my team to win. I'm sure he understands and he knows because he's been a part of it. He has multiple friends throughout this league that he's gone against. That it comes to the competitive nature of trying to do whatever it takes for your team to win, and that friendship is still there. It's on pause for the time being because I'm trying to do whatever it takes for us to win, not for our friendship, because that'll always be there.
Right.
So, I think it'll be the same thing. I think going against him would be great. He brings out the best in competitors and people. So, for our team, I got to go out there and do whatever it takes for us to win.
You guys are averaging 118 points per 100 possessions right now. It's by far the highest number of anybody left in the NBA playoffs. Have you been on a team with an offense this good and this productive in your career? Is this the best you've seen?
Uh, I mean, I've been on some talented teams. Throughout my career, the OKC team we had was phenomenal. We had talent on the bench, starting five. When I was in Boston, we had great talent. Memphis, we had great talent with Zebo, Marcus All, Mike Conley. But this team is, it's special. It's special. This locker room is very special with the guys that we have. We have a bunch of guys who, they don't have egos. Our go-to number one player is the most humble guy you'll ever meet in Nikola Jokic. Jamal is, proven that he's one of the top guards in this league, night in, night out. And, he's as humble as they come. You have Aaron, you have Mike, you have KCP, who's won the championship. DeAndre Jordan, myself, a young guy, Christian Brown, who's won a championship in Kansas. So we have so many pieces, that can help us win. But, we all want the team to win, and we put team first. So this team definitely sticks out as one of the top teams that I play with as far as talent and camaraderie and chemistry.
Jokic to me he stands out because of his talent. He's so good, but he also stands out, Jeff, and you're better equipped to discuss this than I am. I can't think of anybody in my life, and I've been watching professional basketball since I was a little kid. I can't compare him to anybody. He seems like just kind of a new style. I don't know if it's a new style, but he's just a different kind of player. You know what I'm saying? Who would you compare him to? I don't think there's anybody out there.
I go back and forth. I see a little bit. I mean, I see a little bit of. It's a lot of legends that I feel like you could compare him to, but with his size. Like I look at a Larry Bird, a guy who can shoot, who has great, phenomenal touch around the rim. IQ is off the charts. But you look at him, you wouldn't compare him because Yoke is a center, what they say, a quote unquote center. But the passing ability, the IQ, the shooting range, the way to get his teammates involved, he does it all for us. And I look at Larry Bird, and I didn't see much of Larry Bird growing up, but when you look at film and you see the way he played, you see similarities in those two. But Yoke is Yoke. He's a different breed. He's one of a kind, and there's not too many like him.
From a distance, I got to say it was pretty funny, the whole thing with him and Matt Ishbah, I believe it is, the Suns owner. Was it funny at all to you guys? I mean, obviously there was a moment there where you're thinking, oh God, I hope the league doesn't suspend him for this, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
But the whole incident was actually kind of funny to watch. What did you guys think of it?
Well, for me, it was stages. It was, it's funny. Then when you realize what happened, it's like, oh, I hope nothing happens to him. Then when nothing happened to him, it became funny again. So, because at first it happened so quick that you didn't realize that it was the owner of the Suns, getting involved and, being in the melee. But at the end of the day, his response was amazing. How, he didn't wish no harm on nobody. He just wanted to be a fair contest. And, I think that was big of him to say. So I'm just glad nothing happened to him and we got out of that series. But it was hilarious at the beginning when it first happened.
I mean, it's always amazing to me, and I'm glad it shows what professionals you guys are, that there aren't more things like that, because the intensity and the emotion in the first row of an NBA basketball arena during the playoffs with the fans right on you and you guys, big guys, athletes, young guys, it's incredible how much adrenaline is running down there. You know what I mean? It's a different atmosphere than during the regular season.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, I don't know how many people can hear it through the TVs. When I watch a game, you can feel the intensity. And for us, we react to it. We don't really think much about it when it happens. It's just a reaction. So But that's what playoffs is about. You feel that intensity. You love being a part of it. It's like a drug. It's like that adrenaline that hits you, and you just want more and more and more. So, I'm just thankful that we're in the position that we're in right now.
Iconic Sonics continues, and we're talking with a guy named Jeff Green, who's in a pretty familiar place. And by that, Jeff, I mean you're playing basketball in the postseason. I mentioned Georgetown in the Final Four earlier. You've been to the NBA playoffs 10 times in your 15 or 16-year NBA career. You've been to an NBA finals, so you've been to conference finals before, and you're going back to a conference finals. You've had to move around a lot, and maybe you would have preferred to stay in one place, or maybe you've enjoyed that. But what a blessed career you've had in terms of getting to play in games that really matter, and that adds up after a while, right? Experience is a huge factor at this point in your career, I would assume, in terms of when you're in the playoffs and you've been there before and nothing's new to you.
Yeah, that's something you can't duplicate. That just comes with experiencing it. And I've been there. I've been to the finals, like you said, and that experience was unbelievable. And it's something I always wanted to get back to. And reaching that goal to try to compete for a championship is something that we all aspire to do. And I've been blessed enough to do that multiple times throughout my career. And I'm on a good team this year where we have a chance to really, really win the championship. And I think we have everything that it takes to win a championship. So, I've been thankful for my career. A lot of people don't get this chance to be in the league for 16 years and playing at a high level. So I've always embraced every challenge that I've had throughout my career, and I think I've done a great job of, fighting through it and defeating the odds.
I know you're considered one of the leaders of this Nuggets team, and you got a lot of veterans on there. But I know you're the one of the elder statesmen. There's no other way to put it, Jeff. You're
So
an
they
elder
say, yes.
statesman now. How does that happen over the course of your career? At what point in your career did you realize, hey, I've got enough miles on me now, I can stand up in the locker room, or I can call bullshit on a guy, or I can do what I want to do now because I've got the credentials to do it? Was there a point in your career where you felt like that happened?
I'm gonna be honest. I really never. Okay, so I think it happens through the coach and the team. When you get to a team and the status of OG and start being thrown around multiple times through pretty much everybody in the organization, and that's kind of what happened here in Denver last year to this year. Because I never thought of myself as being that older statesman, because I always enjoy myself. I always come with energy every day. So, it's like a kid, going to recess. You always feel young. You always feel like you can just run around. But when you stop and then you got 5 people coming up to you, it's like, hey, old man, or, OG, or, dang, or they thought, they reminded you of how long you've been in the league. We got a guy on our team, Peyton Watson, who is, I want to say Peyton is no more than 20. And I'm 16 years in. So it's either, he was 2 years old when I first started, or, 4 years old, like, wasn't even touching a basketball. So that's when it kind of hits you, is when that OG status is being tossed around by others. I don't think an individual really can name themselves as that. I think it has to come from others.
Right. Has it gotten to the point yet where you can't stand the younger guys' music? Are you that old yet? Or
Yes,
still...
I am there. Yes, I am there. Like I don't like not like it, but it's sometimes they play it in the locker room. I be like, who's this? What is this? I'm like, man, this is garbage. This is trash. I don't know what you listening to, but I am there with the music doesn't relate to who I am. So, but you just love it and you keep moving.
We mentioned earlier, and obviously the show's called Iconic Sonics. There's a hope. There feels like behind the scenes there's some momentum to get a team back up here.
Yes.
You were on another interview show like this, and you mentioned that you'd love to see Seattle get a team, and you'd love to come back and play for them. I don't know if it'll all happen. You look like you're going to keep playing forever. I don't think there's ever going to be an NBA without Jeff Green. But talk about the Seattle thing a little bit. It's been a long time ago, and you've been to a lot of places, and you went to Oklahoma City and had some great success there. So it's obviously going back a ways, but what are your memories of Seattle for the year you spent here, and how strange was it at the end when you're all picking up and moving to Oklahoma?
Well, I'll start from the beginning. I've never been to the West Coast before I
Mm,
got drafted. I never been to the Pacific Northwest before I got drafted. So going to Seattle, it was different. It was a culture shock, but I loved it. I loved the environment. I loved the greenery. Like it
mhm.
was an amazing place to be. The rain you get used to, but the people there were amazing, phenomenal people, nice people. The games, all the energy was always electric. I do remember that. There's certain games that stick out. When we played, actually, when we played Denver, I think that might have been one of the last games of the season. Was Denver, Dallas. When we played the Lakers, obviously, it was always packed. Houston, T Mac. Certain games that stick out where the fans were electric, but they always supported.
Mhm.
And to answer the last part of your question, it was very weird when they told us because I was in the process of wanting to purchase a home in Bellevue,
Mhm.
and we had the draft. I went back to Seattle for the draft. That's where we selected Russell. We had Serge Ibaka, and they had the press conference there. And
Yeah.
I remember I was telling our front office, "Yeah, I'm looking at Bellevue to, you know, maybe get a house because it wasn't 100% that we were actually moving."
Right.
I believe. I know the last game was like, everybody didn't know. And I remember a lot of people came to the game. It was Save Our Sonics. They had the signs, but it wasn't 100% because
Right.
Clay Bennett said that he didn't know if he was moving the team. And we were told that we were moving. It was like, wow, like, this beautiful city now without a team. Like it really did. We didn't process it until we officially had to really move our stuff out of Seattle. And it was tough because you get so involved in the community, you become one with the city. It's like your city. I lived on
Right.
First Street. I live right by the market. I think now they have Four Seasons in that space between the apartments I had in the market.
Right. Right.
So the city has changed a little bit, but it was weird at first. It was kind of hard to really accept because when your first year you become one with a city, you would want to stay in that city, but then we had to up and leave. So it was kind of difficult. It was kind of weird. I wish it wouldn't happen, but you can't control some things.
Yeah, that was you guys had nothing to do with any of that. You got to go
Yeah,
where they tell you to go, and Seattle people don't even like to think about it because it still hurts so much to have lost the team. But you go down to Oklahoma City, that young group of players gels, and you're there for a couple of years. It must have been amazing there as it kind of takes off in a new place.
yeah. I mean, being so young, you kind of just go back to just all right, just focus on basketball. And for us to, I mean, we got there. The first year wasn't great. I think our first year in Seattle, we won 18 games, maybe.
Yeah,
Or second year, we went to OKC. Our first year in OKC, we won 22 games. So it wasn't a smooth transition at all as far as, going from Seattle losing and going to Oklahoma and just taking off and winning. Like it came with some bumps in the road. But, you know, for a guy who was 21, 22, we moved to OKC. The community took us in with open arms. But you still, you think about like Seattle. Like I always bring it up. Like I always said that before I retire, I hope Seattle gets a team because I would like to play there one more time. Just to get that atmosphere. Because I think it was last year, the Clippers had a preseason game there.
yeah,
I was like, man, that'd be great to go there and play a game. I think Kevin played there 3 years ago, 4 or 5
yeah,
years ago.
yeah. He played in the last
Uh,
event at Key Arena before they knocked it down and put the new arena up.
yeah, so I actually saw a bit of that game and I was kind of jealous, being able to play there. But like you said, I did say that I hope Seattle gets a team before I retire. Uh, I'm not gonna put a number to how many years I got left, but I hope it's soon. I hope it's soon.
You hope they get a team soon. In other words, you can't
Yes.
just go forever.
Oh yeah, I can't. I can't. I mean, I still have friends there that were involved with the Seattle SuperSonics, and I always, try to, see what the status is of, trying to acquire a team.
Right.
So hopefully, it does get done. It's well
Well,
deserving.
Yeah, and the fans up here appreciate that, man, and they are. I've always said, the fans, they've been great. It's amazing to me how much interest there still is in that franchise up here. We did an event about a year ago, a live show with Sean and Gary and George, and we had 400 or 500 people come out. For a team that hadn't been
Yeah.
around for 15 years. It's it really is, and I know this as well. So much talent has come out of Seattle as well. It's really, for the size of the
Yes.
city, it's a basketball rich area, and that would make it seem like a great place for the NBA to come back to. Can you call the commissioner? Yeah, I'll give you 5 minutes if you want to call him and tell him.
I would love to call him and tell him.
See, you can
But
call him.
I think he would.
You could say, first of all, thanks a lot for not suspending Jokic. That was the right call. And
Yes.
oh, by the way, could you get a team back in Seattle?
I think he'll hear me out. I think I have a voice in this league where he'll hear me out.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Hey, where'd Uncle Jeff come from? Where'd
Oh
that
man.
nickname come from?
So long story short, my second year, I played in the All-Star game, the rookie sophomore game. So this is probably everybody listening to this, if it's young people, like Instagram and Twitter wasn't quite what it was back then.
Right.
And I was in the process of getting an Instagram and Twitter. I don't think I had it at that point. That's when it just started. And we're playing the All-Star game, and ironically, LeBron James is doing the commentary with the sideline reporters of the game. And I get a steal. I bank it off the backboard. I did it a buzzer. And he says, man, Jeff has the game of an uncle, at that park, just fundamentally sound, plays the right way. That's Uncle Jeff. That's Uncle Jeff right there. Fast forward that season, I'm debating whether or not to get an Instagram, and I don't know what to name my Instagram at name. And I think it was Kevin and Russell, we were all around. And it was like, just put Uncle Jeff,
Yeah.
And at the time, I did have a niece. I had a baby niece, baby girl niece. So it was kind of fitting because it was true, but it was also given by one of my peers. So it's something that I had, and I don't know how, but it just stuck. It just stuck. I guess once Instagram and Twitter became bigger than what it was, and it was my at name, and it just stuck for some reason. And now that's literally my name. Like, nobody calls me Jeff. Jeffrey is Uncle Jeff, like, everywhere I go. And it's kind of weird, but it's also pretty cool.
Well, you got a personality kind of like an uncle too. You're like a nice guy. You're sitting around just talking
I
in the
guess,
afternoon.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
guess, like, real calm demeanor, just, But I guess I don't mind it, it works.
Look, there's plenty of guys that get nicknames that, like, from some bum on the street like me. You got a nickname from LeBron. That's like, okay, I'll keep that.
And I think that was a thought process back then. It was like, dang, LeBron gave it his nickname. It's fitting because I am an uncle in real life. Hey, let's run with it. And, it blew up. So, I guess thanks, Bron.
And I'm assuming that's all he called you when you guys were teammates in Cleveland, was anything but Uncle
Correct.
Jeff?
Correct. I mean, not just him. I mean, the opponents that I play, they call me Uncle Jeff. So it's cool. It's pretty cool.
Jeff Green, a member of the Seattle SuperSonics. He came into the league in 07, 08 after a great college career at Georgetown. Draft day, you're drafted by the Celtics, traded. I mean, you've been in the league about 5 minutes and you find out it's a business. Hey, you got drafted by one team, you're getting traded to another.
I wasn't even drafted yet. They told me when Kevin got picked that I was getting drafted by Boston and traded. So I wouldn't even say my career started. It started with a trade before I even got drafted. So it's kind of weird. So I guess that was fitting to my career, I guess, but it's all good.
should I ask him, can I get a Bill Russell jersey or a Larry Bird jersey as long as I'm a Celtic for a minute?
Yeah, give me something. A little shout out.
Think about it, and I think you're the only guy who can make this claim. I might have missed somebody. I was looking today. If we list the greatest players in NBA history, 3 of the names that are going to be on that list are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Jokic, Nikola Jokic. And you've been a teammate of all 3 of them.
Yeah, I like to say I helped their success.
Sure. You should. They wouldn't be. It
They wouldn't
is
be
though.
who they are without me.
And you played with a lot of other great players, but I mean, those three, am I missing anybody? I mean, those three kind of rise above in my estimation.
You missing a couple.
Who else?
You mean that's still playing right now?
Well, that you would put on that level, like the level of those three, like greatest players of all time.
Kevin Durant.
You played with KG, of course. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
played with KG. I would put Russell up there.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook. Man, James Harden. Paul Pierce. Played with Vince Carter in Memphis.
You got a whole team there.
Chris Paul. I played with Chris Paul with the Clippers. Kyrie Irving when I was in Brooklyn. So I played with some amazing, phenomenal legends of the game. So I can't complain.
Absolutely. Now, would I be right in saying the first three I mentioned are above it all, or they're? I mean, maybe you could put KG in there. People forget how good he was.
No. Like those three are, are great at what they do. They really study their craft. They really, work hard at their craft. So I mean, there's not three names that you can't go wrong with those three names at all.
Jeff, you had a very interesting thing happen, and it would have, I think, probably scared everybody. Probably scared you. In 2011, you get diagnosed with an aortic aneurysm, which
Correct.
nothing about that sounds good. And you had to have open heart surgery. And I mean, I'm sure you've talked about it a lot. What are your memories of that time? Was your mindset getting back to play basketball, or just, I want to survive, man? I'm way too young to deal with this, so I want to make sure I'm living and I can live my life. How did you go through the early days of that diagnosis?
It was a little bit of both. I want to survive. So I'll tell you the transition of how it went. So it was during the lockout, 2011. The season restored in December. I flew up like the 9th or 10th of December. Had the physical. They told me probably 3 days later. And at that moment, it was a complete shock. Then it was, I want to survive. Like, I don't care about basketball. And then I took a flight to Cleveland, where I met the surgeon, Dr. Sars Benson. And he told me, you're 100% going to be fine to play basketball again. It may take some time, but you'll be fine. And he told me that. And it was like a big weight. People always ask me, was I scared? Yes, I was scared when they told me, but when I was going into the surgery, I was not scared. I don't know how I wasn't scared. I don't know why I wasn't scared, but I wasn't scared at the time. And when I had the surgery, when I woke up, it was, all right, how are we going to get back right for basketball? Because I knew that moment was over. I was past that moment. They told me that I'd be fine every day and get better. You hear them, you're like, oh, that's BS. Like, I feel terrible right now. I can barely walk 5 steps. It felt like I just ran 18 miles.
Wow.
So after that transition of being told about what I have and that I had to have a surgery, it was, I want to survive. I don't care about basketball. I met with the doctor, had the surgery. Then it was, all right, since I had the surgery, how do I get back to being in shape for basketball? So it was a slow transition into getting back to basketball mentally. But when I got there, it was everything basketball. What I ate, how I'm gonna get back, like in condition, like I didn't care about nothing else. So it was tough to deal with. I was 24, 25 at the time. I was 24 when I was told. I was 25 when I got back to playing. But being that young, having a career being snatched away. I mean, I was on up and coming. Like, I signed for 1 year, 10 million, I think it was, with Boston. And then the next day after I committed to signing that contract, I was told I had to have heart surgery. So it was tough to go through, because I didn't know if I was going to ever get back to that level, if I was going to ever, be a household name or,
Right.
played 16 years. I didn't know. I didn't think I would, but when I had the surgery and then I started talking to teams to figure out if I was going to be able to play next year, the doubt that they gave me motivation to get back to playing at a high level. So it all worked out. I think it really motivated me to be a better person, player, you name it. It motivated me to be better in every aspect. So, I'm thankful for, what I went through because it helped me get ready for the years I'm at now. It prepared me for this. So I'm thankful for it. And, it's something I won't change because I feel like it helped me become who I am today as a person.
You say you're thankful and you went through this scary thing. Is being thankful, is that something like, okay, I'm thankful because now I really appreciate everything I've been given. I appreciate every game. I appreciate every hang with the guys. I appreciate a meal. Is that where it comes from? Is that's where you think you were blessed to go through? Is it really you more than most of us know how precious it all is and how it can be taken away?
Yeah, 1,000% what you said. Being more appreciative of the game itself, where I'm at in the moment. Because when you're young, you think you're invincible. You think you can do whatever you want. You can play forever. You can, you know, pretty much you get into a mode where you kind of take the game for granted. It's going to be here. I'll be fine. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do this. You kind of take everything for granted. So going through that scare really helped me put everything in perspective of where I'm at right now and where I was at the moment. It made me appreciate the game of basketball, the business of the NBA. It made me appreciate it a lot more after I went through the surgery. And that's what I'm thankful for because, we're young, you start enjoying the life of what the NBA gives you. And I'm not saying I was headed down that path, but I was definitely enjoying the life and sometimes not taking the game as serious. So it helped me put everything in perspective of enjoying both, but more so the NBA itself in the life. So it made me reorganize my priorities.
Well, it's remarkable the comeback from it. When you talk about the doubt that fueled you when teams said, "I don't know, man. I don't know if we want to take a chance on you." What about
Yeah,
self-doubt? Did you have any self-doubt as you're coming back, like in a gym, like where you're pushing it, like, God, I can't go any, yeah, I'm never going to be what I once was. Did that ever creep in at all?
never had self-doubt. I never had it.
Hmm.
And I think that's where the motivation of hearing certain teams express their doubt of who I was going to be. But I never had any doubt. I believe when I was cleared to play, I started working out, and I remember I went to Georgetown and I started playing with the young guys that were at the school. And I remember I told them, I said, "Look, like hit me, like if I were through the lane, hit me, foul me." And
Mm-hmm.
not a soft foul because I think it was mentally preparing myself for what I was about to go through. Obviously, it won't be the same because the guys on this level are a lot bigger, stronger,
Right.
faster. But it allowed me to know that okay, I'll be okay. And then when that happened, the self doubt was gone. But I also knew that I had to prove a lot of people that regardless of the surgery I went through, that athletically and physically, everything, I'll be fine. So after that first year in Boston of getting back, Doc Rivers, Kevin Garnett, they allowed me to really gauge myself through the season. They allowed me to really put myself out there to showcase what I can do after a procedure like that. And I always say in any interview I've done about this surgery, I owe the city of Boston, everything. I owe Doc Rivers, my teammates Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Brandon Bass, Avery Bradley, Courtney Lee, all those guys, everything because they helped me get through it and allowed me to get through it mentally by allowing me to go out there and just play my game. And the city of Boston embraced me like no other, and they helped me as a community to get through it by embracing me in the way they did.
Well, all these years later now, and I think, over 1,100 regular season games and another 100 plus in the postseason, and a contributor everywhere you've been. The sad to say, the elder statesman in the locker room now, even though he doesn't want to admit it. Back to the present before we let you go. So here come the Lakers, and they're in your way, and it must be fun. I don't know if fun's the right word, but it must be something to go, okay, we're going to go to the Western Conference Finals, and we got to go through an absolute legend now to get to the NBA Finals. We got to knock off, and LeBron well. What do the Lakers do that you've got to be concerned with, and that makes them a difficult out for you in this next round?
What they do,
Yeah.
I would say, is more so of who they have.
Yeah.
When you have one of the greatest players to ever play the game, that makes them a threat regardless of who's on that team. And by having Anthony Davis, the guys who they traded for during the trade deadline, and D'Angelo, Vando, Malik, you have Lonnie, who's been playing well, Austin, who's been playing well all year. You got Rui, who they got at the trade deadline as well. Dennis, like, that team has been playing amazing. But when you have a LeBron James on your team, it's going to be a tough task. But I think we have the personnel, the type of team that can beat them. We just have to go out there and prove it, and we have to go out there and take it. I think that's the biggest thing with going against them.
Have that. You got to be ready for the challenge, and I'm sure you are, right? You don't get this far, and you're not gonna have guys go, "Oh, I'm scared of the Lakers." I mean, you guys have been ready to roll, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know you said fun, and I still think it is fun. I believe when you have a challenge like this is the excitement. This is what. Well, I know I've said it plenty of times in this interview, but this is what you play for, and I think that's what makes this so fun. You're going against one of the best to ever play this game in the team that he has. And we want to win a championship. In order for us to do that, we have to beat the best. It's not going to be an easy road, and this is the next challenge. The first challenge was Minnesota, a young team in this league with a lot of aspiring talent in Ant and Cat. We beat them. Then we move on to Phoenix to have some, veterans on the team that's done amazing things throughout this league, and Book and Durant. We got past them, and now this is the next challenge. So I think we all are looking forward to it, and we're all looking forward to competing for a championship.
Well, we're looking forward to watching it. And when the Sonics come back, here's hoping you're still in the league and you can get up here. But if you're not, you still got to come back up here, because you're thought of people when people think of you and KD with the Sonics, and you had other teammates. I think they think of that last game against Dallas, and you guys were on the floor, and everybody's yelling, "Save our Sonics!" And Kevin was standing at the free throw line, waving his arms, telling people to yell louder. That meant a lot to everybody in this city. Again, everybody knew you guys had nothing to do with this. This was a business deal that just went hopelessly wrong for the Seattle fans. But people appreciated how loyal you stayed to the city and how loyal you've been over the years and mentioning us. And we thank you for that, man. And I hope
no problem at all. No problem at all. No, I want all the fans to know, Seattle has always been, close to my heart. That's why I started. I mean, I still have, to this day, I still have 2 of my jerseys from Seattle. I still have hats. I still have shirts. So I've always represented Seattle, the city, the organization when it was there. And regardless if I'm playing or not, I guarantee you I will find a way to get to Seattle to attend a game, to be there for a few days, to just, get a sense of, how the city has changed since I was last there. But, I will always, remember Seattle. That's something I'll never forget.
Well, same right back to you from the city of Seattle. And if by chance something happens in this series and you get to drain a shot over LeBron, I want you to yell Uncle Jeff at him. I get right to Uncle Jeff, baby. Uncle Jeff.
I got you.
Jeff, congratulations on the great career so far. And good luck against the Lakers. We'll be watching and really looking forward to seeing this one. It's going to be a great series, I think. Thanks for doing this with us.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. And always go Sonics. So, let the fans know that I'm still rooting for them to get a team.
Thanks, Jeff. Jeff Green with us, our guest on Iconic Sonics.